Good evening, everyone. Welcome to Tuesday Night Rotor Talk Live. Going to do a little bit of housekeeping here, and I have a major piece of news just found out here. So, and Billy's going to be on promptly at 8. So, give me a second here. Need to get the chat window up. Everybody had a good Tuesday today. I did. Let's get that going. Okay. All right. 1, 2. Tony Smith, welcome to the show. Lloyd, welcome. Welcome, everyone. I have some major piece of information I just found out. I mean, this is hot off the press. I mean, just beyond hot off the press here. We'll wait to get a few more joined on here. Bill, I'm going to spill the beans here in a second. Just getting my chat windows here situated. All right, how many we got on? We got 9, 10. I will wait for a few more. I got everything going here. Want to welcome everybody. Billy's going to be on promptly at 8. So this is going to be a wonderful evening here. Greg, yes, I am going to tell you right now. I checked my Facebook group, and somebody reported that the two people who won the Attell Evo at CES, Steve Smith, welcome. The two people who won the Attell Evos at CES 2018 received shipping confirmation today. Well, I went out to that Facebook group, and they posted screenshots. Welcome from Georgie Junior 69. Welcome from the Philippines. Thank you. Drone Shots, welcome tonight. And I have screenshots that I'm going to post later, and I may even do just a real quick video after this to show you guys the screenshots. But apparently he's received shipping confirmation on it, and he is supposed to get it June 11th. So that is some huge news. I mean, this is just absolutely gargantuan news here. So yes, Greg, you sure did. Thank you very much. I appreciate that. David Ma, welcome to the show. Thank you very much, Greg. I went out there. I saw those screenshots. This is fantastic news. This isn't far behind. That's for sure. That's absolutely, positively for sure. What a way to start out one of the tonight's episode is to find that information out. Greg, thank you for posting that in the group. I appreciate that. Samuel, welcome from Puerto Rico. Thank you for joining tonight. I can't tell you how much I'm looking forward to Billy. Want to make another quick announcement here before Billy joins us, which is going to be in a couple of minutes here. You guys know the group Drone DJ? Have you heard of that group? Well, Hey Kesteloo runs that group. He's put out quite a bit of information. He actually broke the news about the Mavic Air. I'm going to be having him on June the 19th. So you guys want to circle that date on your calendar. Ron, welcome to the show. Thank you for joining tonight. Hey Kesteloo is fantastic. He runs a great page. I follow him more on Twitter than on the web, but absolutely fantastic. Doing well, Ron. We're doing real well. I just broke the news about the Attell Evo. Two people who have won them at CES have received actual shipping confirmation that their Evos are being shipped to them. So that's absolutely, positively fantastic news. It could not get any better than that. So, and yeah, Hey Kesteloo will be on June the 19th at 8 o'clock on Tuesday Night Rotor Talk Live. Also coming up, Bill, I know Billy's going to be on here any second. This Sunday, we're going to have Sunday afternoon Rotor Talk Live, and we'll probably find out some more information and definitely be talking about that as well. I'm thrilled. I'm thrilled to finally get some real concrete news about the Attell Evo instead of speculation. Oh, you're welcome, Ron. I mean, it's nice. Thank you to Greg Samples. Everybody gives Greg Samples some kudos. He posted that on Bill the Drone Reviewer's Facebook group tonight about that. So, Greg, thank you very much for doing that. And, you know, we're all here. We're all community. And that's one of the things I absolutely love about this wonderful community of drones. You know, we share information. You know, we're here to help each other out. And this is good news. As Original Dobo said in one of his videos that I really like, you know, we need Attell to succeed. We really do. Just absolutely need them to go. Billy is here. Let's
Hey,
get him
Bill.
on. Hey, Bill. Hi, hey, Billy. How you doing?
Good. Can you hear me?
Yes, I sure can.
Awesome.
I like the color shirt.
The yellow.
Yeah, that's cool.
This is actually this was from my orientation for college. We all got these like put into groups and we all got these different colored shirts. I think this is the only yellow shirt that I own.
Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. I was going to say that just absolutely looks cool. I don't know if you heard, but I just broke some news. Somebody posted on my Facebook group that two winners of the Attell Evo at CES 2018, well, at least one of them is posted. He's received shipping information and confirmation.
Really?
Yeah, that he's getting that June 11th.
Wow.
I'm gonna post a screenshot of that later up on the group. So
that's funny because I'm just trying to pull up the stream here so I can kind of look at the chat. That's funny because I know that they were looking at a June release date, although I thought that they were looking at more of an earlier June release date. So that's awesome.
Yeah, I was thrilled to see that. I mean, I was just absolutely thrilled. Just you know, before we really get into it, you know, and as part of the questions here, just why don't you tell everybody, you know, we know you're in college. You know, what are you majoring in? What are you looking? You know, what are your job aspirations?
So right now I'm majoring in communications, looking to probably pick up some business classes just to diversify some of the classes I'm taking. I used to be a computer science major. I'm not sure if you're familiar with coding at all. That's tough.
Yeah, I'm a reformed. I used to be a programmer, so I know what you're talking about.
What language would you write in?
Well, you're gonna laugh. It's called COBOL.
Okay, no, I've never heard of it. I know the ones that are probably the biggest are like C++, and we learned Java. And I took about 2 classes of that, and then I figured I'd switch to communications just because that was more up my alley. But yeah, so I go to St. Joseph's University. It's in Philadelphia. I'm majoring right now in communications, looking to pick up some business classes, and I hope to do this YouTube thing as a job when I'm out of college. Continue to kind of make my own business. I think that I want to try to kind of pursue the commercial market a little bit more with drones. But I just love this so much that I'd love to do something with it in the future.
Well, I know I talk a lot to Bill Thomas, and you know, one of the things that we talked about, Bill and I did, was, you know, we're kind of jealous of you in terms of, you know, we're both. I'm reaching my 3rd anniversary, my 20th birthday coming up here. Okay.
Oof. Yeah.
And Bill's
I know what you mean by that.
You know, and you are in such a wonderful time with technology. I mean, seriously, it's just fantastic.
I mean, growing up with the technology is definitely awesome, but it's great to see, you know, people of all ages jumping on here and being able to contribute, because not only can people learn from, as crazy as it sounds, someone as young like me or as young as me, but also it's great to have other people of different ages to get these different experiences. I mean, it's just awesome in my opinion.
Oh yeah, absolutely, yeah. So I'm gonna put you on here. Here's the first hot question of the night.
All right.
Okay.
All right.
Okay. Your favorite drone.
Okay, so I've preached that my favorite drone is the Phantom 4 Pro, and I think that anyone who subscribed to me will know that that's my favorite drone. It's got the best camera, the best performance, and it's funny, when I fly something like the Mavic Air, it's great, but then when I get the Phantom 4 Pro in the air, you can just feel the stability is better, the performance is better, the responsiveness is better. But I've been using the Mavic Pro a lot, and I know that you own the Mavic Pro.
Right.
And something I've been doing a lot, and I've been talking about this like all the time, is this vertical shooting mode. And I've just started to take advantage of it. And it's great for Instagram. It's great for Facebook. And I see a lot of people saying that shooting vertically is a waste. I've heard people say that shooting vertical videos and vertical photos sucks. And while I understand that, it's perfect for certain situations. So I feel like the versatility of the Mavic Pro is great. I mean, as you know, it's so portable. But right now, favorite drone's got to be the Phantom 4 Pro, with the Mavic Pro as a second.
Well, as you put on that video was fantastic. I mean, I know you've done a lot, like you do real with those abandoned buildings that you've done, and smokestacks and stuff like that. That's just absolutely that was a kicker. That really was. And I was going to ask you, okay, and this is one of the questions I've been dying to ask you is, I want to get the name of the video here so I get it right. Flight School episode number 3, intelligent flight modes. Okay, that's my that's my Bible. Okay, seriously.
So that was a video I created in the early days of my channel. I think that I don't know if I even had 1,000 subscribers by then. And at this point in time, it was kind of like I was just scratching the surface with things I could cover for DJI flight modes, or I guess anything DJI. So I wanted to try to cover all the flight modes in one video, have it like a one-stop shop for people to come and watch, just how to use the flight modes. Now, I myself don't end up using them all that much. I don't know about you, but I think the only one I really kind of gravitate towards is tripod mode. But other than that, doing that video, it's been my most popular video, probably the video that everyone knows me by, just because it's gained that much traction. And it's nice to see a video like that blow up. And it just goes to show that, if you keep at it, you keep posting, you're eventually going to get these videos that gain more traction. And it's nice because I made that video so long ago and people still watch it. It's still one of my most watched videos every single day in terms of real-time views. That's so crazy. As long as you keep at it, you're just going to continue to grow and grow and grow. I know some people seem to drop off sometimes, but in the terms of YouTube, you just got to stick with it.
Yeah, one of the things that I have to say, and here's another hotspot question. Okay, here are my go-to guys as far as when I get notified, getting the bell coming up, then another video's coming out. You're one of them. Kelly from Ready Set Drone is one of them. Yep. Rick Smith from Drone Valley, and Ken Heron. When I see you are the guys, you're my go-to guys that that I know something good is going to come out of that. My question is, who's your go-to guy or guys?
So I don't have many go-to people in the realm of drones. I watch everybody's videos. I watch your videos. I watch Ken Dono's videos. I watch Bill's videos, Coast to Coast Drones. I mean, it doesn't matter whose video it is, I'll watch in terms of drones. I think everyone has this like unique perspective and this unique take on drones. Ken Heron is a funny guy. I don't know if you're familiar with Tom's Tech Time. He does a lot of stuff with DJI, and he blends top-notch production with, again, everything you need to know about your drone. He never really gives like his opinions on the drone, but like if you want to know everything there is to know about a DJI drone, he's your place to go. A lot of the people that I tend to watch on YouTube, at least, they're still in this sort of like technology genre that's overlooking the drone genre. I love watching MKBHD. He's got about 6 million subscribers. I'm sure a lot of the people in this stream right now follow MKBHD or subscribe to him. He shoots with a Red camera. Are you familiar with Red cameras?
Yeah.
I think he's got like 2 of them, and they cost like $50,000 just for the body. So his production quality is top notch. It's probably the best on YouTube. MKBHD is a go-to guy. Casey Neistat is a go-to guy. A lot of the big hitters on YouTube I tend to watch just because they never seem to fail to impress me with their content.
And it's interesting you brought up Casey. I don't know if that one that he did with the Inspire on the boat out in the Hudson River. I was just like, and that girl was catching it, and I'm like, okay, you know what? You hit a wake or a wave, you're gonna probably lose a digit, or you're gonna lose the Inspire.
Okay, so I mean, could you imagine? Have you ever gotten nicked by a drone blade before?
Yeah, I have by the Spark.
So in the Spark, I've gotten nicked by the Mavic. I'm sure it's really not that big of a difference, but you talk about the Inspire. I mean, those blades have got to be like the size of your forearm, right? I mean, you getting nicked by those, it'll take a limb clean off.
I got to tell you, I went down to 2 hours south of where I live here in Tampa to Florida Drone Supply, and that's where I got my Mavic Pro from. But in that shop there, she had a matrice, two matrices there, the
Yeah.
big one. Billy, the case for the matrice, and I kid you not, you have to have a full-size pickup truck to haul that around.
So I saw your video on it, and I saw you touring around and seeing some of the different drones, and their setup looks awesome. The only time I've gotten to see like those big drones in person is when I went to the DJI store in New York City. They've got like Camrise as a camera store, and they have a DJI store down the street from their camera store, and it's authorized by DJI. It's not like they just kind of pop this open because DJI is popular, but DJI funds them. And have you seen the spreading wings? I mean, there's the matrice, but there's the spreading wings, the octocopter, and I mean, those big drones are just incredible. I can't even imagine how much something like that would cost.
Well, you know what was really incredible was, and I talked to Janelle. She's the owner of Florida Drone Supply, and she was telling me her husband, he actually got his private pilot's license because there was no Part 107 back in the day.
Yeah.
But he got it so he could fly drones commercially. And what he did during Hurricane Irma, one of the power companies in Orlando set him up, and he was flying them and helping out locating trouble spots and get power back and up and restored. And they were using Inspires, and they had that charging case for the Inspire. And let me tell you, that just blew me away. Have you ever seen that?
I've seen some pictures of it. It's a really great idea just to bring a case with you. I'm not sure if you're familiar with GPC Cases. Have you heard of them?
Yes, I have. Yes.
Have you seen, I mean, they've got some cases, they don't charge your batteries, but in terms of like the Phantom drone, you can hold like 50 batteries in one case. It's ridiculous.
That's what they have at Florida Drone Supply. She only sells GPC cases because she said, you know, there's to her, it's like why you spend $1,000 or $1,500 for a drone, you know, are you going to put it in a $50 case? I mean, seriously, you know, you want to protect it. You want to do it well. So I mean,
yeah, I totally agree.
You know, yeah. One of the other questions I'm going to have for you, it's I don't call it a hotspot question, but if you could choose anywhere in the world to go shoot a video with a drone, where would it be?
All right, so I guess I'll go out of the places I've been to, because there's always things that I see online that are like prettier than the last spot that I saw. I think that if I could choose like one place to fly my drone, it'd be the Grand Canyon. Like, could you imagine being able to fly low down through the canyon? So I've been to the Grand Canyon, so I think that would be an awesome spot to fly. Another cool place would be like Yosemite. Again, these are both national parks, so you can't fly them. But it's always been like my dream to fly at one of those two places. Another place that comes to mind is like Niagara Falls, although that might be a little bit tricky because the times I've been there, the falls just kick up so much like water in the air. There's so much mist that it could mess with the drone. So that was something you'd have to be really careful on as far as that's concerned. You know, okay, if you had unlimited funds, you know, let's say, you know, unlimited funds, what drone would you get? So I would have a tough time. So I guess we'll start off with the body. I'd have a tough time choosing between the Inspire 2 and the Matrice. The Matrice is awesome for business purposes because you can mount two gimbals. You can mount a gimbal on the top. It's got a sensor on the top. I think at the end of the day, I'd probably go with the Inspire 2, which costs $3,000 just for the body alone. From there, camera-wise, I'd probably choose the X7, the Zenmuse X7, just because that is right now the best camera you can buy, and the footage you can shoot from it's insane. It's really cool how you can have the interchangeable lenses, which we've been seeing on this Phantom drone now with the interchangeable lenses. And so just going off topic real quick, don't you find it weird that DJI made a custom drone for a company? Like, that just doesn't add up.
Yeah, I was gonna. I had that down as I was gonna write down as a question, but you know.
I don't know. It doesn't add up. It's like I've never heard of them doing this before, and I've never really heard of any other companies doing that before. So it'd be cool if DJI was doing this. But I heard this somewhere. I don't know if it was you that said it or another channel that said it, but DJI doesn't like to waste tech, and they're definitely going to try to implement that in a future drone.
Right. I think I may have said that. You know, it's like, you know, when you're spending literally thousands of dollars, and you're just doing a one-off. I mean,
Yeah, doesn't make sense.
No, it doesn't. And that tells me that that they're actively pursuing the, if you want to call it a Phantom 5
Yep.
kind of a thing, because they don't waste tech. I mean, they have a lot going in, a lot right into it. And I mean, you look at those parts when you saw the pictures that Osita posted. Those were machine precision parts.
Yeah.
They weren't like, oh, somebody's going to go on a lathe and just make this kind of thing,
I mean, you have to wonder how much someone actually paid in order for them to make it. If that statement is true from DJI, like how much would someone have had to pay to get this made? And then at the end of the day, if they're looking for interchangeable lenses, they probably paid around 10 grand for them, maybe even more than 10 grand for them to custom design this Phantom drone. Why wouldn't they just go with the Zen Muse X7 on the Inspire 2, like I just said, because it'd probably be around the same price?
Yeah, that makes absolutely perfect sense. One of the things that I see a lot every day on Facebook is I see a lot of these Kickstarter drones.
Yeah.
239, 250, 260. What do you think of those?
Kickstarter drones are weird. And I think Kickstarter drones and all of these more toy drones in general are a little bit weird. I think Kickstarter as a whole is a little bit strange. But in terms of the drones specifically on there, it's hard to trust them. It's hard to really, especially with all these other toy drones saying that, it can do this, this, and this. And then when you get the drone, it doesn't actually deliver on those points. I would just be skeptical as a whole on Kickstarter drones. And really just toy drones in general. I mean, if you're looking for a solid drone that can do what you expect it to do, I mean, there's always the Telo. You've gotten the chance to fly the Telo, right?
Yeah, I've gotten a chance to fly the Telo, and and it's interesting you brought that up. Because the Telo is, I think it's an in between. I think it's not quite a toy drone, and it's not quite a
like
DJI
a
drone.
Yeah,
like a Spark. Yeah.
Yeah. So it's fun to fly inside. In fact, a funny story I'll share with you. I've told a couple people this. When I was doing my review, I had it outside and I was just testing a couple of things, and it was sitting there in front of me, and I turned around for a second to say hi to a neighbor that was passing, and I turned back around and the wind took it 3 houses down.
That's just absolutely crazy.
I find that to be probably like a drone that you want to fly inside more. It's a good size. But I mean, if you're looking for a drone, these Kickstarter drones are cool and all, but you really can't go wrong with the DJI drone. If you go with the Telo, it's $100, a good starter drone, but also the Spark is seeing these massive price cuts. And it's not necessarily like price cuts, but they seem to be adding in a bunch of stuff. Like they'll be like, oh, the Flymore combo is now $350. I've seen someone tweet that link out, but it's like $350 for the Spark Flymore combo is a deal.
Well, there's a guy who follows me. He's from Northern Ireland, and his name's Rodney Piker, and he was actually on when I had the Sunday afternoon show, and he's now since upgraded to a Mavic Air, but he took some incredible shots. I mean, Northern Ireland is fantastic anyway, as far as being lush and green and everything. But he took some absolutely fantastic shots. Billy, you wouldn't know if it was you could have said it was probably a Phantom 4, but it was a Spark. I mean, really.
I totally agree with you. So from using the Spark and just from my time flying it, the only problem I really had with it is the flight time. I feel like you're flying around, and by the time you're like, you're up for like 10 minutes, you're like, oh, I got to land already. And coming from something like the Phantom, which has 30 minutes, it's like the total opposite end of the spectrum. But the camera on the Spark is great. In fact, I'd go as far as saying it's better than the Mavic Pro's camera in terms of quality. It's still got that 4K sensor inside. It can shoot 4K resolution images. And I heard when I was at CES, I was talking to someone from DJI. They said the only reason that they didn't put 4K in the Spark was to not compete with the Mavic Pro or the Mavic Air, which would have come out after CES, which makes sense. I mean, if you've got a drone as small as the Spark that can shoot 4K, it's like, why wouldn't I just get the Mavic Pro? So
I would, and that leads me into a great question. Okay, I've heard a lot of people say that the Mavic Air is really the Spark 2.
Yeah, I would agree. It should have been. I don't think it should have been classified in the Mavic series.
Yeah.
I think that it would probably be better off making its own name somewhere between the Mavic and the Spark, or being a Spark Pro. Because if you look at it, it doesn't really look like the Mavic. I feel like if I held it next to the Spark, I would see more design cues from the Spark. And also just in terms of performance and design, and I mean really everything across the board, I think it's closer to the Spark than the Mavic.
Yeah, I definitely agree. You know, and just looking at some of the film that was shot, that I shot from like the Mavic Pro versus the Spark. I mean, it's just like, you know, I'm like, I asked my wife, I said, which looks better, and she pointed to the one on the left, and I said that's the Spark. You know,
it's crazy. And I know that someone who probably takes pictures with the Spark the most out of anybody is Bill Thomas. And
yeah,
whenever he sends me photos, I'm like, this is incredible that it's from the Spark. He'll send a photo. I'll say, oh, you took the Phantom 4 Pro? I'll say, no, this is the Spark. And it takes some great stills. I've thought of a video idea, although I don't really know how I'd execute this. So with smartphones, I mentioned MKBHD. He does these smartphone camera blind tests.
Mm-hmm.
So I think it'd be pretty cool to have these images taken, and then you say, okay, which was taken from which. But the one thing that I think will give it away is the focal length of the lenses. Each of them have a bit of a different like field of view. So the Phantom is a little bit wider.
Yeah.
Mavic. So if someone is a little bit keen on that, they'll be able to pick it up right away. But to the general eye, I mean, you could probably fool a lot of people with these images just because they're so close.
Absolutely. You know, and you know, that's one of the things we had talked about last Saturday. Went over near Orlando and actually had a chance to meet one of my subscribers, and he's from the UK, from southeastern England.
That's
and
awesome.
He was telling me, Billy, and this just sounds, I'm just like, I'm chomping at the bit. He's invited me over, my wife and I over, and he's been coming over to the States here every year since '92 over in Florida. Just an absolutely stand-up guy. And I shared a picture on my latest video of him. Ian's his name. He was telling me, he said, you know, right off the coast, there's an island, and the island has a causeway over it that gets flooded. And he said he flies his Phantom 4 out there, and he was firing he has an Inspire 2, but he had to send the Inspire 2 back. The IMU was bad in it. But he said that one of the things that really kind of kicks him is the weather over there in England. He says we have maybe 2 weeks of really good weather a year.
Yes.
Otherwise,
over in Europe, I know that it's pretty crappy weather. I follow this one kid from Europe. I watch some of his videos every once in a while, and I swear in every one of his videos it's raining. Like that sucks.
Yeah, and that's what Ian was saying. You know, that and the temperature. And he says, you know, the temperature can have these huge wild swings. And I said, oh, you must be talking about Ohio, because that's where I lived before I lived here. So yeah, it's just like, it was just absolutely crazy. But
what? Go ahead.
No, I was gonna say, he was saying like their rules as far as flying drones are concerned. You know, it's really pretty much, yeah, you got to maintain visual line of sight. Can't go over 400 feet. But he said, other than that and the no-fly zones, he says, we don't have the kind of rules that you have in the States regarding drones. He says, it's a little bit more free, he said.
Yeah, so I haven't done much looking over like other drone or other countries' drone rules. I know Canada's, and I know the United States is pretty well, just because I've flown in Canada before, and they're very similar. Canada and the United States, although Canada, it seems to be a little bit more strict. But I definitely think that'd be a good idea to, probably for myself at least, do a little bit of research on that. But I'd love like a one-stop database where I can always find the most up-to-date rules. You know,
I think that would be great.
I feel like I'm sitting there all the time, like Googling like rules, whatever, and then I look at something and I'm like, oh, this was published back in 2017. I don't know if this is up to date. So
yeah, and that's one thing for me too. Is, you know, I had talked to him about this. And, you know, and he was asking me, he says, why do you think they have all this stuff? And you know what I told him one of my answers was? And I said, Ian, I really think, you know, a lot of it, and I hate to say it, a lot of it is to make money. I mean,
through what? Like, you think like through registration?
Well, through, you know, it's like when I took my Part 107, it's $150. I'm like, ugh.
I've talked about this before, that I think it's a money grab. I think across the board, it's a money grab. It's like if the FAA really cared about us registering our drones and flying safely, why wouldn't they make it free? You know, why would they have to make us, like, to pull out my credit card and spend the $5 is like ludicrous that I have to spend $5 to get the registration number.
Yeah,
you know,
one of the things I can tell you is I'm also, a lot of people don't know, I'm a licensed ham radio operator, and I got my amateur extra. And you know how much each test cost to take was $25.
Really?
Yeah. Now, and that's run by the FCC. Now, I talked to somebody, and I had somebody, we had a nice exchange on one of the videos, who told me, he said, they ask, and I can tell you after having taken the test, they ask unbelievable amount of questions about charts. And he said, you know what, Bill? He says, I'm a private pilot. They ask more questions on the Part 107 about charts than they do for a private pilot. That's just crazy.
It's crazy because so I personally haven't taken my Part 107. I'm going through a course right now to get my Part 107, hopefully within like the month, I would say. I don't want to try to pressure myself, but it's insane from what I've heard that like nothing pertains to actual drone flight, which you'd think that the FAA would probably, at least by now, come up with something that's a little bit more, catered towards drone pilots.
Well, I can tell you a couple of things after a couple of tips. Definitely study those sectional charts, and they're going to ask questions about, this tower is 400 AGL, but it sits on a 20-foot hill. So, they try to trick you. There's another one that they asked about, I had alcohol 24 hours before, 36 hours earlier. When is it okay for me to fly? And
oh my God,
they try to throw you some real curveballs, Billy. I'm telling you. One thing I can tell you though is, I wish I had gone. I'm not going to mention who I used, but what they did was they used a practice exam from like the very first one from back in August of 2016, and the questions were out of date. And I mean, my wife knew I studied my butt off for that.
Yeah.
And I only passed by one question. And I'm going in there and I'm like, okay, I'm shaking my head because you get your results right away. At the testing center, they tell you that you passed. But I went back and I looked at all these questions. I'm like, And then I found, and a lot of people know Remote Pilot 101 is, I know a lot of people use that. I went out there and looked at their practice exams. They were almost spot on to the actual exam. Wow. I said, you know what? And Remote Pilot 101, I think it's $150, but it's for life. Anytime you need to go back and get recertified, you can use them to study again.
Yeah, a company that reached out to me they sent me an email. We Coach UAV. I'm going through their course right now. They seem to have a really detailed set of things that you go through. It's about 15 different sections. They have videos, all this stuff. So I'm going to wait to kind of like do my review on that once I go through and take the entire course, take the 107. But I mean, honestly, any sort of advice is definitely welcome because I've heard that it's pretty tough, especially if you know a lot about drones, because it doesn't pertain to drones.
Yeah, it does. See, that's see, that's where I think the FAA gets it wrong. Okay, you're not going to be a private pilot. And I mean, I'd always had aspirations, but at this point, cool. I'm just fine with where I'm at. But
Me too.
You and I are going to do, use them for videography, photography,
exactly,
that sort of thing. Yes, we need to know about airspace. Yes, if we see, if our app tells us there's a plane in the area to get down, we're going to do all those things. It's just ludicrous to know, well, this sectional chart and this sectional chart and this sectional chart, and and here's the thing, you're the one you did on your app that you use. It shows you the no-fly zones.
Exactly.
It tells you those things, so you don't even need to. It's just ridiculous.
I know. I mean, it's like if usually like what I use my drone for with my dad, at least on his side of the business. I run his website first of all, but I also take a bunch of photos of all of his jobs. He's got like this one piece of property that he subdivided. He's building 4 different houses, and I go there and I take pictures, and it's like on the very edge of a no-fly zone from an airport. So it's like if I take off from one spot, it'll give me the warning, but if I take off from another spot, it won't give me the warning. And it's like I'm staying below the trees and I have to go through the NFZ application. It's a real pain. I mean, I wish that I don't know. There's got to be something done. I mean, I don't know why I need my Part 107 to take photos of a home. And the reason that you can tell that it's a money grab is because they specifically say, like, the only way or the only reason you would need your Part 107 is if you are making money. Like that, I mean, they're like, oh, you're gonna make money off your drone. I want a piece of the pie, you know?
Yeah, you know, and I heard and I read an article today, kind of along those lines, talking about that and saying, you know, if you know to help enforce the rules and so forth, saying, oh, you know, we'll pull your license from you, so you can't make money, that kind of thing. And I tell you what, Billy, it's like, okay, there's a lot of realtors that like the idea of being able to do it, of course, with you know, bigger properties, you know, and one of the examples that I can think of is, I think Ken Herron has it, I think in a promo video, one of his, you know, these are, you know, that's for big properties. You know, when you're doing it, you're not looking to, unless somebody wants one in a development, you know, with cookie cutter houses, you know, you're looking for something that has acreage with it and land, and you know, you're not going to take these unbelievable shots. I mean, you could, but it's not there. So, but I know a lot of realtors, you know, it's going to force them either to A, hire somebody and they have to pay for it, or B, they're going to have to go out, get pass the exam and all that kind of good stuff and invest in the equipment, you know, and that's, you know, yeah, you're right about the money grab. That just, I wish they would do something different.
Yeah, everything from the Part 107 down to the registration is all a money grab. And plus, it being $150, I don't know how they came up with that price of $150. You know, I feel like it should, I feel like on the high end, it should be $50.
Yeah.
And also, the rule is if you don't pass, they keep the money, right?
Right. Well, what was nice was my very first drone was Attell X-Star Premium, and they had a deal where if you take and pass the exam, they would send you an American Express gift card for, it was back then it was 125. They'd send you an American Express card for 125 bucks. So in 2 weeks after I passed the test, I got an American Express card for 125 bucks.
Well, that's awesome. That's through Attell, you said, with their X-Star?
Yeah, through Attell, yeah.
You know, I would, so now in terms of drone companies, I know that the biggest is DJI. I mean, you really can't, if you hate them, you hate them. It's like people who hate Apple. If you hate DJI, you know, that's your opinion. I would say second is Attell, even though they've only come out with one drone. You agree? Yeah,
well, absolutely. You know, and I like the video that Ken put out about, you know, why we need Attell to succeed. You know, I could not have liked that. I told Ken, I said, you know, I could not have, I wish I could have given it 2 likes.
Yeah, that
was good. Seriously, you know, it's just like, you know, and that's what I try to tell everybody. We need Attell to succeed because, you know, we need, you know, like I know Parrot's coming out with a drone tomorrow too. We need Parrot to succeed because this is going to force DJI to, you know, say, you know, yeah, we do have some competition, you know, and it's going to be good for everybody, you know?
Yeah. Speaking of Parrot, I'll be at their little event that they have tomorrow in New York City.
Oh, so wow.
Pretty fun. I have no idea what to expect. Like I
don't either. I mean, you know, and that's one thing usually, and I talked about this before. I'm going to have it in 2 weeks. Have you heard of Drone DJ at all?
Yes.
Okay. Hey, Kestelou, who runs that, he's going to be on. I'm going to have him on the show in 2 weeks. He's a great guy. He's the one that broke the news about the Mavic Air. In fact, he's the one that posted the image and, you know, the whole thing about the event. So we're going to have him on and talk to him. He's the one that broke the news also about the that mock-up that we talked about earlier. He also said that, you know, he was the one that actually got an email from DJI themselves saying that this was a one-off for a customer. So, and he shared that, which I thought was really cool. So that's going to be a good time. He really knows his stuff. I'm really looking forward to it. And he's also hooked up. They do like 9 to 5 Mac. They do.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, he does. He's with a number of companies. And then another one, Electrek. ELECTREK. I don't know what the pronunciation of that is, but you know, that's one that actually had a good video out about the Tesla the other day. So
yeah, I won't even start talking about Tesla. I know a lot of people. I could talk about Tesla for days. It's not a Tesla channel, but I could talk about Tesla for days. They're awesome.
Yes, you could. I could too. Absolutely. Well, I know somebody just to FYI, I know somebody at work that has one, and my boss went for a ride with him, and he told my boss, he says, you got to put your seatbelt on. And my boss was just like laughing. No, you really have to put your seatbelt on. And he steps down on the gas, and they were like at 60, like in, I don't, you know.
It's like 2.4 seconds. The P100D can go. Or the
it's absolutely insane. And you know, the other thing that I saw, and this is the only other digress that we'll talk about Tesla, because like you, I could talk about Tesla for hours. That $35,000 model, they, and I read an article about it last week, and it said, you know, that's just like a base, bare bones model. You know, you got to spend another 10 grand to get a better battery in it, you know, another 5 grand to get some of the options in. So by that time, you know, you're getting up to like what the model that's out right now is. And it's just like, I'm like, oh man, Elon Musk has got it down.
Elon Musk is a good follow on Twitter for anyone that doesn't follow him. He's
I do, yeah. He really is. I get a big kick out of him.
Yeah, so I got to sit in a Model 3 in the mall near me. They got like a unit or a display car in the store, which was really cool. And I remember getting an email saying that it was like 2 days in advance, and I was like going to be in the area for a doctor's appointment. I got out at 8:55. I was over there by 9 o'clock. It was like, I think I was the first person there to sit in the Model 3, which was awesome. And sitting in it, you think about how that's the baseline car. It's still really nice.
You know, I think, to me, I got 7 more years before I'm done with work, before I can retire. That's my retirement car. I'm just crossing my fingers and just, you know, hoping against hope for that. That's for sure. One of the other questions I wanted to ask you, you know, your channel's been around for a while, and you know, and you've done, obviously, you know, and the thing that I like about your channel, Billy, is you're consistent. When you put out, you put out quality content, you know, whether you're talking about, you know, your backup system, or whether you're talking about your Mavic Air or the Phantom 4 Pro, or, you know, whether it's, you know, when you went up to Michigan on your you know, ski winter trip, you know, you put out quality stuff. And I think that's one of the things that I really like about it. My question for you is this, and I know, you know, this month for me, it's 1 year on YouTube.
Cool.
If you could do one of your videos over again, do you know which one it would be and why?
One video that I could redo over. Okay, there's one that comes to mind, and I'm pretty sure I've made this video unlisted now. So the Mavic Pro first came out. I don't have the Mavic Pro near me. I'd pick it up. But the thing with the gimbal, as you know, with the Mavic Pros, it's very flimsy.
Oh yeah.
And these companies, once the Mavic came out, they were coming out with these ND filters. Like Polar Pro came out with ND filters, and the thing with them was when you would install the ND filter, turn on the Mavic Pro, the gimbal would be overloaded and it wouldn't be able to move because it was too heavy. So I made a video titled "Do Not Buy the Mavic Air ND Filters Yet," and it got like 50,000 views and like half likes, half dislikes, and people are like, "Oh, you don't know what you're talking about. This was before I had the Mavic Pro." So something, and this is kind of true with a lot of my videos, but I think specifically with that video is that I like to wait to talk about things until I have it. And if I'm talking about something that I don't have, I try to like iterate that in the first 5 seconds. So for example, the Phantom 4 Pro 2.0, when I made a video on that, within the first like 10 seconds, I was like, look, I don't have it. I'm just gonna be talking about it. You know, if you guys are looking for footage, I told him, I said, you know, Drone Valley got the Drone Valley got the Phantom 4 Pro 2.0 early. And so did We Talk UAV. I directed them to those sources. So I think that in that instance, it'd be nice because I didn't even have my Mavic yet. So I wish I could redo that video and try to make that a little bit more clear so I didn't get a lot of dislikes.
You know, yeah, you know, and I tell you what, you know, I look back on mine and I'm like, oh, and where I'm at now, you know, I think it's fantastic. But you brought up a good thing, and I really like that. You know how, you know, and I can't understate it. And you know, when Bill Thomas first connected with me, you know, I really started thinking about, you know, and I hate to do like go Mr. Rogers here and everybody's your neighbor kind of stuff, but you know, it really hit home when Ken had his accident, and how Kelly just jumped right in and said, you know what, you know, Ken's been in a bad accident. You know, he put out a GoFundMe, and you know, usually, you know, I'm pretty tight with my wife. And I didn't even have to ask her, 25 bucks, just, boom,
Yep.
Doing that. And one of the things, what you just said, and I really like what you just said here, was, I don't have a Phantom 4 Pro V2.0, but you know what? We Talk UAV does, and Drone Valley does, and I'm going to send you in their direction. See, that's one of the things, another thing that I like about you is, you realize it's part of a community, and
Exactly.
their success is your success, and vice versa,
And I was talking to somebody over the weekend, because so they were it was my girlfriend's uncle, and he was calling me Drone Boy. I guess he thought it was like a joke, and I started talking to him about, like, the power of them, what I do with them, YouTube, all that stuff. And by the end, he was like, "Oh, well, that's really cool." And something he said was like, "Oh, well, do you have any competition on YouTube?" And I was like, "Well, I mean, there's people out there who make the same videos as me, but like, I don't see them as competition. It's nice because I get to connect with you and you're connecting with me. So hopefully, some of my following will go over to you. Some of your following will come over to me. And it's the same thing when I went down and visited Ken Heron for our little video. I mean, as much as he's, I guess you could say, competition because he makes the same videos, it's like, I have no problem sending people to other channels to get information, helping each other out, pulling subscribers. But at the end of the day, I don't see the people who are making the same videos as me as competitors. I see them like almost as coworkers,
Yeah,
We're all in the same space.
Oh, yeah, and well, I got to tell you this, one of the other guys I've been communicating a lot with lately is AGL 400, which is Mel. And I don't know if you've seen the video of the Flying Eagle Hilton. Ken Heron did it. It's the truck that Mel has.
Yeah, that thing's pretty big.
Oh my gosh, that truck is like, it's almost better than my house. I mean, seriously.
Hey, Lloyd Mendenhall.
Lloyd, thank you.
Awesome.
Lloyd's a great.
I think he donated on Ken's stream last night too. That's awesome.
Lloyd is a fantastic guy. I love watching his videos. And you know what? One of the things that I do is I carve out time each day, and it's probably around lunchtime, is, I dedicate, at least I get 45 minutes to an hour for lunch. And I take a good half hour of that, and I try to watch, latest videos that everybody's put out. And, to me, and I tell you what, I don't know about you, Billy, but that's where I learn. And that's where I get, I get inspired, so to speak, because, I see something you put out. I see something that Ken Heron's put out. I see something that Ken Dono's put out, and, just not necessarily, the same subject matter, but, just your style, your approach, and everything. And I know we're all kind of different in everything, but one of the things
awesome, though,
that really has helped me out was when I first started out was I watched a guy by the name Mel. Thank you very much.
Awesome, man.
Fantastic. One of the guys is Sean Cannell. I don't know if you've heard of him or not. He's a YouTuber. He has a Think Media, and also another guy called Pat Flynn. These are guys that really helped me when I got started with my channel, especially Sean Cannell. Just little things like what video editing software to get, to go out to Fiverr.com and get some things like, lower thirds, to use Canva for your thumbnails and channel art. Just these little things that really help when you start the channel. And it was fantastic, because, you want to go out there and you want to do it right. And that's one of the things, I know you're like me. You want to do it right when you go out there and do this.
Yeah. So, and the thing that I really like about it is it's all like a learning process. What I like to do and what I've heard other people do is you take someone's videos, right? Someone that you admire, someone that you think does videos well, and you try to copy their style. And then over time, you make it your own. So two people, MKBHD, Casey Neistat, both people that I said that I follow, I've tried to emulate both of their styles and kind of make it into my own, which I hope that 2 years afterwards, now I kind of have my own style, my own way of doing things here or over on my channel. And it's all a learning process, which is what I love. I mean, you go back and look at my first video, I was filming with an iPhone 6. Now I've got a Panasonic G7. And it's just like really cool to kind of see the entire process of how a channel morphs,
When and I got to say this, and I shared this, and a lot of people just, when I had Kelly on from Ready Set Drone, I told him, I said, you know what I use to shoot? I mean, now I'm using my Logitech webcam, which I think is great.
Oh,
and I'm working on. And one of the other things, I think it was Ken that talked about getting a background, and I'm working on going to get a background like you have, which I think is fantastic.
You know
for
what this
coloring
is?
and everything.
You know what this is? This is it's like a cheap Amazon stand that goes up, and then for a little bit, for a little while, I grabbed a queen sheet and threw it over, and that was my backdrop. Yeah. And then my mom needed that sheet, so I grabbed something off Amazon again for about $25. It hooks onto the top and it comes down, and I'm using like paper clips almost, or yeah, I guess they're paper clips to hold up the stand. So I mean, you know, anything works. Like this is perfect for me. And I think that it really does add to the production value, because another thing is with the lights that I've got, it bounces off the back and just makes the entire shot look awesome. So
yeah,
adding these little pieces of gear, it just totally ramps up your production value.
Yeah, I mean, that I really like that, especially, you know, the yellow with what you're wearing tonight. You know, you really kind of stand out, which is good because that's what you want. You want it, you know, we want to see you. We don't want to see the lights. We don't want to see, you know, other things. We want to see you, you know, kind of a thing.
Well, yeah, and so in terms of tutorial videos, you know, they can be glamorous. They gotta kind of have like, you know, a little pizzazz to them so that people want to watch them and people are entertained. But I think that for the videos you and I do that are technically or I guess more so informational, you just got to get straight to the point, nothing crazy, none of these goofy transitions, music in the background. I mean, the most important thing is that the information gets from me to the audience in the clearest way possible, you know?
And one of the things, you know, in my intro video, and I can't believe it, you know, I just looked out there, I got like 1,300 views on it.
Wow.
They introduced the channel. It's
Oh,
just Bill, the drone reviewer. One of the things to me was, and the whole reason I started the channel was, you know, and I've seen, you know, and there are some good drone reviewers out there. Don't get me wrong, but you know, when you get, and I talked about this with Ken Dono, and he agrees with me, is these 25, 30-minute videos, okay? You know, you start, you know, and if you understand, you know, the algorithm, YouTube algorithms and everything, you know, one of the big things that YouTube looks at is minutes watched, because
I know,
okay, you know, a lot of my videos are like 6, 7 minutes tops, kind of a thing. And I was looking, you know, I'm getting like 4 minutes watched on a lot of those videos, which is fantastic. And that's what YouTube looks at, and that boosts your algorithm, you know, for when, you know, you're going into a search engine and people are typing, you know, the same thing, you know, and I do that a lot with my titles and my videos, you know, and it'll come up on the first page because of that.
Exactly. It's all an algorithm game, and I know it's like crazy. Like if you post a video that's 9 minutes and 59 seconds, that will get like substantially less money than a video that's 10 minutes and 1 second. So sometimes you'll find people will like make a video and try to drag it out to just a little bit past 10 minutes to try and get the most money possible. I think a way to look at YouTube, and this is kind of how I started off, is don't look at it as a place to make money. Never look at it as a place to job, or I guess to replace your job or as a job. I'm hoping that it turns out that way for me in the future. But think of this as a community for, you know, places to interact with people. Right now, we're live streaming, interacting with these people. And, you know, I could, if this was on my channel, I could care less about the ad revenue. It's nice to see that at the end of every month, but it's not like the next day I'm like, oh, how much money did I make on that stream? It's all about the interactions that you build. So, you know, even someone who has a smaller channel, they still get to build the same interactions as me, and therefore they're getting the same exact experience out of YouTube. So I would say if anyone is here in this channel or in this live stream right now, and you're looking at starting a YouTube channel, don't get discouraged because you're not making money right off of the bat. Think about all of the, I guess, knowledge you can get, first of all, out of just making videos using technology. I mean, that's kind of what's got me to the point where I am today, just making these videos. It gets me better. But also just think about all of these different relationships you can make with people that subscribe to you, that you subscribe to. You build your own little community. And I feel like that's what we've got right now. And it doesn't matter what the size of your channel is, you're still able to communicate with everyone, talk to everyone, and everyone's on the same field.
Oh yeah, you know, and that's one of the things, you know, that I think is so important, and you really hit a great point for me, Billy, is that, you know, people who come into this and look to, you know, oh, I'm gonna be the next Casey, you know, I'm like, come on here, you know, you're not going to get 62 million followers overnight. And he will be the, yeah, but he'll be the first to tell you, it takes work, and you got to put work into it, and you got to develop your style. And, and I like what you said, I'm watching Casey, or I'm watching the other one that you mentioned, and learning from them, and trying to emulate them, but still come up with my own kind of style. And I think, that's one of the things that's important is, a lot of people, yeah, I get ad revenue, and yeah, I get revenue from Amazon too, from affiliate links, and from DJI, in fact, my revenue from DJI, when you're under a certain amount with DJI, it just banks up as DJI credit, and I'm banking my credit up for a drone. So, and I'm getting there. And you know what? And that's one of the things that I try to tell people, Billy, is, what? I got a great email from one of my subscribers this week who said, Bill, he said, I'm disabled, I'm on a fixed income, I really can't contribute, to your super chats or anything. And I told him, I said, look, I said, you know what? I said, here are the best ways to contribute to my channel. Number one, to comment on it. I said, number two, to like it. And number three, tell others about it. And he does. I said, that's better than money to me, because you're telling other people about that, and one of the things, like at work, for example, I found out there's several people in my row, they're in another department, but they all know that Tuesday night that I'm on and I'm doing my thing. And several of them, are drone enthusiasts. And,
that's cool.
We have some good conversations here, working in IT, but yet, talking about drones. And I told them, I said, guys, you need something, let me know. And my boss's son just majored in videography. He just graduated from college. And he's interacting with me and asking me, questions about, what kind of a drone should I get my son? And that's another thing that I think's pretty cool is I get a ton of emails from people saying, what kind of drone should I get? I mean, I think that's fantastic, getting those kind of emails.
Yeah, and it's not even emails too. It's a lot of in-person types of things, especially when I'm out flying my drone. They're like, "Oh, that's cool," and they ask the questions, and it's just nice to be able to know the knowledge like right off the top of your head and be like, "Oh, it can do this, this, and this." And all the people are always like so impressed. They're so blown away by what they can do. And again, I think at the end of the day, the fun of it is just being able to create. You know what I mean? Like
it really is.
Casey has said this before, and I get the same feeling. It's like the thrill of hitting upload. It's like sometimes, so I schedule my uploads. I usually make them like at the night or during the night. I'll upload them overnight. They'll be ready in the morning, and they go up at 11. Like I try to do 11 a.m. It's like kind of like, in my opinion, the best time to upload. And sometimes I'm sitting there at like 9:50 waiting for it to upload, and I'll just say, you know what, I'm gonna put this up at 10 because I just can't wait.
Yeah, I kind of do the same thing. I get mine. I do mine overnight too, like that, and I try to get mine about 9 in the morning or so.
Yeah, that's perfect. I think anytime in the morning, like before 12, is pretty good. And sometimes if it's like a time-sensitive video, like sometimes if some news comes out, I'll upload it whenever I want to. But another time I found that's a good time to upload is late at night. Like you upload it like 12 o'clock at night, schedule it for then. People are going to wake up, and that's the first thing they see in their sub box. So while you might not get a bunch of views right there in the beginning, in the morning you're going to be getting a ton of views.
So I got Steve Carpenter. Thank you very much.
Thank you for the $10 super chat.
I gotta tell you something. And Ken put this in one of his last videos. Rick Halber and Steve Carpenter. I'll tell you what, these two guys
on like every stream. I swear
they're on everything. But and the thing about it, Billy, is they are genuine, 100% positive comments. And they both followed me. Now, I was going to ask you how your gaming channel's going.
Yeah, I saw. So I know that you had you sent me the questions a little bit early, and I kind of gave up on it. Okay. So I love playing Xbox. In middle school, it was the only thing I did, and I think that kind of contributes to why I can fly drones pretty well, because I've just always had a controller in my hand. And I did that all throughout middle school. I thought, oh, let me pull some of these subscribers now and do what I started, because I started with gaming channel videos, or I started with gaming videos on my channel. So I wanted to make this new community, this separate channel, and I uploaded like a couple of videos and it just kind of fell off. And I don't know, I'm kind of all over the place with it. I don't enjoy it as much as I did, and I feel like it's taking away from my main channel, and I'd rather just focus on one thing I'm passionate about right now.
Well,
So
one of the other things, Steve and Rick actually joined it. I had actually started another channel before this one. It was called BillTheDroneReviewer, and
yes.
I had drones on there too, but I also had other kind of tech. And one of the things that I still have a passion for that. And what I decided to do was, at least on a weekly basis, was have I have a page for that. And what I do is I go out to Google every day and I get the top tech items and I throw it out there to the page, and I look and I see over a week's time who has read that more and how many. And what I've done is, and I put out a video about it yesterday, is the top 3 or 4 items from the week, and I'm just calling weekly technology review. Now, it's and the other ones that just took off, and I just put these out here, and I've gotten like 1,500 views. I got a Midland ER300. It's a hand crank radio with weather on it and all that.
Those are cool.
I didn't expect it to get too much, but it's like I've gotten like 1,500 views.
That's
on
crazy.
It,
so is that a video you've created, or is it a blog?
Yeah, it's a video. It's on BillTheDroneReviewer. And one of the things that I did was, early on, I did a lot of crossover. But what I'm going to do, as far as like the drones are concerned, and I said that, and I had a channel update for the Technology Reviewer channel, and I said what I'm going to do is, some of the better ones that I have on BillTheDroneReviewer, I'll cross over. But just to kind of give some flavor. But one of the other questions I wanted to ask you, I'm sure you saw that video, that 43-second video of from the Mavic Air inside the DJI factory. Did you see that?
Yes. Yeah.
Okay, listen to this. I got an email from the guy that had the Mavic Air, the actual one, and he's over in the UK. And what he told me was, listen to this. Okay, he said DJI made him an offer he couldn't refuse. So he took the video down. In other words, what was happening was, they actually gave him a drone. He had like 13,000 views on it, and he took the video down. And I got into an email thing with him, and I said, how'd they get a hold of you? He said they called me, and I'm like, whoa, how did they get your number? I'm like, wow. So I'm kind of waiting, because I have a video up. I asked him if I could use the video, and he said, sure, go ahead. And my video is still up there, and I'm getting like 20. I'm getting like 100 views a day on that now. So I'm waiting to hear from DJI, and I'm like, yeah, you can buy my silence. I don't have a problem.
So what drone did they send him in order to, I guess, shut him up?
He wouldn't say, but I'm guessing he probably got a Phantom 4, because he's just like, he said, I was getting 13,000 views on this, Bill, and it was just going through the roof kind of a thing. But I thought it was just crazy, because all of a sudden somebody had said, hey, Bill, that link's not out there for the original video, and I went there. Sure enough, it's not out there. So I found him on Twitter, and I messaged him, and then he sent me his email address, and we've been communicating. But yeah, he said he's a happy camper. So I'm like, wow.
You've got to put, like, in the description of that video, like, at the very top, for contact inquiry.
Well, I actually, this was really kind of freaky today. I got a phone call from New York City today, 212 area code, and it was in Chinese, all in Chinese, okay? And it lasted 43 seconds. And I told my wife, I said, okay, this is like X-Files, Twilight Zone kind of stuff, because that video from the Mavic Air was 43 seconds. And I'm just like, I tell my wife, crazy. I said, I'm waiting to see Mulder and Scully knock at the door. And I'm like, oh man, I said, that's just freaky stuff. And I want to ask you that question. I don't know if you saw that episode. They had an episode on the X-Files reboot this year where Mulder was getting chased by drones.
Really?
Yeah.
What were they using? Were they using like a DJI drone?
They used originally it was a Phantom 4, and I think he used a baseball bat and knocked it down. The next thing you know, he was getting chased by, I lost count how many Inspire 2s were chasing him. It was crazy, insane.
It was probably, it could have been CGI, but if not, that takes some pretty advanced piloting skills to try to pilot them all around each other.
I mean, my wife was like, "You got to see this. You got to see it." You know, we're watching it, and I was just going, I'm like, my jaw is just down to here. I'm just like, this is just absolute insanity. It was just so much fun. If you get a chance, it's probably out on YouTube.
I'll have to look it up. Whenever a drone comes up, and whether I'm with my mom, whether I'm with my girlfriend, it's like something comes up and we just look at each other and we just laugh. So one time last year, I was playing lacrosse. I was standing there. I play goalie, so the ball was at the other end of the field. And I could have swore that I heard a drone. Like I heard like the buzzing, and I was like, "Yo, I'm going crazy! Like I've been flying drones so much that I can hear them now when I'm not even flying." Here I look up and there's actually a drone above us. It was like I couldn't tell whether it was like a Fan 4 Pro, Advanced, Standard, whatever it was, but it was the body of a Phantom, and it was sitting there and it spun around and took off the other way. And I looked up in the stands right at my mom, and she looked at me. It was like the funniest thing that happened ever.
Oh man. Here, how do you find time to do everything that you do? Because I know you have like what, 3 or 4 jobs, and you're doing videos.
So I try to use those jobs to fund this YouTube channel. That's kind of like, the hard work that goes into the YouTube channel. That's not everything. So I got to try to get a ton of money so I can try to continue to upgrade the setup and all that stuff. So usually what I'll do is in my spare time, whenever I'm not at home, whenever I'm not like in front of the camera, I'm trying to type out scripts. I'm trying to plan stuff so that when I get home, it's like right to business. I know exactly what I'm doing. I guess probably from start to finish, a video could take anywhere between like 6 to a full 24 hours. It depends on the style of video. And that's all starting from the script. I script most of my videos. It's from the script all the way down to the last shot, the last edit, clicking upload. But I would say, the biggest thing is just organize your points, figure out what I want to do first. And then that allows me to get home and just get right to work so that I, can pretty much upload as frequently as possible.
So you probably get to bed, what, 2 or 3 in the morning?
Well, yeah, so I'm on my summer schedule right now, so I do stay up pretty late. But yeah, so I've got a job too at my university. I mean, like install computers, all that stuff. Over the summer right now, we're changing all the computers out in the labs because it's that 4-year cycle. In school, it's like every 4 years you get to order new computers. So we're changing out all the stuff in the library, and I work there from like 9 in the morning to about 1. And then all the other time is either taking photos of my dad's jobs, coming back here, making videos, planning videos, shooting for videos, all of that stuff. One thing really quickly I want to throw in, advice for you, not only you, but also anybody else who's going to be looking to start a YouTube channel. And I can kind of attest to this because of the gaming channel. Keeping up with 2 channels is tough. So I would try to find a way to try to merge those 2 somehow. Yeah. I know that BillTheDroneReviewer has now become such a name for you. I know that a lot of people know you now as BillTheDroneReviewer. I would try to find some way to mix that in, because if I could find a way to mix gaming videos with drone videos, I would. They're just not really mixed, but I think that tech and drones go together very nicely. So if you could try to figure out,
and I think, and I like what you said about the name here, because, when you work to build, and that's one of the things Sean Cannell talks about when, you're starting out is coming up with a name for your channel,
Yeah,
and,
tough.
And all I have to do is if I'm saying, oh, did you hear what Billy Kyle said? And it's like, unless you've been hiding under a bushel for the last 5 years, you should know exactly, when I say, did you see what Billy Kyle had a video on that, that kind of thing. And that's the thing I'm getting from a lot of my subscribers is they're saying, well, Bill had a video on that. Go take a look at that. And one of the other things, and I wanted to kind of say this is we're wrapping things up, is, when I got my Mavic Pro, one of the things that I was just unbelievably frustrated with was the gimbal lock. Okay.
Yeah.
And getting it put back together. And I went out, and I hadn't been out on like legit forums in a long time. And I went out there and I was asking for advice. And I'll tell you what, you talk about negativity and just, what are you doing here? What's your deal? But I'll tell you what, I got onto a Facebook group, and this guy within 15 minutes, he put a video out there. He said, Bill, here's how you do it. And you know what? That really stuck with me. And this was before I started the channel. I said, you know what? I like that. And I liked being able he was able to help me out just like that, and nothing, oh, you should know better, or, that negative talk and all this stuff. No, it's just like, you want to encourage people. This is something, this is a wonderful hobby, for lack of a better term, for us, and you want to encourage, and he did, and I'm friends with him to this day because he did that, and that's I think that's one of the huge things here with our channels is we have this wonderful opportunity to be a part of this great community. And I know I talked about this with Kelly too when I had him on, and he agreed 100%. It's like, I told him, I said, one of the things I really like about what you do, you include your son in on a lot of this.
Yeah, that's really cool. It's like a family thing almost with him.
Yeah, and his son has done complete like giveaway videos and that kind of thing. So I took a page from that, and when we were doing the giveaway for one of those toy drones, I had my wife sit here.
Yeah.
She read the script. I had it up on the screen to make it easier for her, and she did. And people were fantastic. And one of the other things is, for super chats, and I do a Sunday afternoon Rotor Talk Live, and just to digress for a second here, the reason that I do that is my number 2 country that I get, and I'm looking in my stats on YouTube, is the UK.
Same here.
And I'll tell you what, Billy, those guys over there, and some of them may be on tonight, I'm not sure. They're fantastic. And I do it Sunday afternoon at 2 o'clock because that's like about 7, 8 o'clock their time, which is prime time for them, and they can pay attention, and they love it. They eat it up. They just absolutely love being able to watch and be able to contribute and be able to ask questions during the chat, which I think is fantastic. And I don't think I'll ever have like a guest on a Sunday afternoon one, because I get so much interaction from everybody that's on there. I think it's just fantastic.
Yeah, so the interaction through YouTube, I find, is usually positive. And there's 3 places, I think, 3 big places I think you can go to get information, not only about drones, but everything else. There's forums, there's Facebook, and then there's YouTube. And I find that it's kind of like different spaces. So forums, everyone's just nasty for some reason. No matter what forum you go to for anything, people just seem to be nasty. There's no nice people ever. Facebook, it's sort of a mixed bag. If you're in a group and that group tries to weed out the people who are negative, who are, maybe annoying, spammy, stuff like that, then it can be a good Facebook group. And YouTube, the creator, whoever's channel it is, really has the opportunity to dictate who's on the channel, who's watching, who's commenting, stuff like that. So, if that person's staying on top of it, which I know you do, I know that myself does, and I know that a lot of other people do that, they're able to create this community where it's nice for someone to come in here and ask any question whatsoever. Someone could ask, how do I record a video with my drone? And it's just simple. It's like, oh, you click the record button. There's no one not answering them because they're quote unquote dumb,
nobody with a smart aleck answer.
Yeah.
And I got to say this too. I really like you being on Ken's show on Monday night. And I know he said that. He says, I needed structure, and I heard him say this. And he said, and having you on gives him some kind of structure. And I think it's fantastic. His show is just, and Ken, if you're watching, I think your show has gone from great to absolutely fantastic because of having Billy on, because you balance, it's like that yin and yang kind of thing. Seriously, because I know from talking to you, you're a structured guy, and you plan things out. And I'm like that too. There's something to be said for that. And that's fantastic. And, your time's valuable, my time's valuable, but yet, you're helping a friend out and doing that. I just think that's fantastic.
Yeah, you know what? And right now I'm helping out one of my professors shoot a short film. They need someone with a drone. And she's like, oh, there'll be compensation. I said, don't even worry about it. I know that, sometimes you short films have these tighter budgets. I said, don't worry about it. Anytime I can get behind the camera, I'm happy. And it's like anytime I can get in front of the camera, talk drones, talk with people who are in the space, interact with everyone, that's like a positive experience for me. I gain from that.
It's a bonus. It's an absolute bonus.
I mean, right now I've got nothing going on. I was just watching TV. Being able to come down here and talk drones for an hour with not only you but everyone in the chat is just awesome.
Next, it's probably going to be one of the last ones, and then I'm going to ask you a couple other ones, not drone related. Mavic Pro 2. I know, Billy, I can't tell you. I started a Mavic Pro 2 group, and it's like
Yeah.
instantly, it's like it's almost at 1,000 already. It's just like it took off. And what are your thoughts about that? And what are your thoughts about when it's probably going to come out?
So the Mavic is without a doubt the most popular drone. I've noticed that I kind of did a test. Anytime that I upload a video that's about the Mavic Pro, it gets like around 7,000 views. Now, if I upload any other video, my average is anywhere between 2,000 and 4,000, but it's like the Mavic Pro seems to be the hottest drone right now. I mean, and it's 2 years old, which is insane that it's still as prevalent as it is in this drone community. So I think that, first of all, with the Mavic Pro being such a good drone, and also these new specs that were, rumored to get in the Mavic Pro 2, it's just building the hype up. And I feel like this 2-year period that we have is leaving people saying, okay, now I feel like I can upgrade. Like if we got a Mavic Pro 2 1 year after the Mavic Pro, they wouldn't sell as many because people already have the Mavic Pro. They just bought it. And for some people right now, they're just buying the Mavic Pro also. But we have these 2 years now where I've been flying the Mavic Pro for 2 years, and now I'm ready to move on. And I'm sure a lot of other people are ready to move on as well. So if we look at the time frame of when they released the Mavic Pro, it seemed to be during the fall. I remember it was like right when I was starting my freshman year of college. So I'm expecting to see something around there. I've never seen a DJI product or a DJI drone get released right smack in the middle of summer. I think the Mavic Air was more of like the summer drone. They released that.
Right.
I would say early spring, sort of in the winter, and now that's the summer drone, and then they're going to come out and release during the fall like they did last year or 2 years ago, the Mavic Pro 2. I think, at least that's my theory.
Yeah, that's that makes an awful lot of sense. And one of the things I wanted to do here, and I know a lot of the audience joined a little late, was about the Attell Evo, and I wanted to let them know about this. I got an email actually on Bill the Drone Reviewer's Facebook group, somebody had informed me, they're on the chat, and I'm sorry, Greg Samples. Greg informed me that the 2 people who had won the contest at CES 2018, one of them actually received a shipping confirmation and screenshots, and I'm going to post those later on Bill the Drone Reviewer so you could take a look at them and see them. But these are actual screenshots of what he got from Attell, so it's on its way. So, and delivery date was showing as June 11th. I know JB Drones, I know you were asking me about that. I wanted to let everybody know, and I know a lot of people joined late. I wanted to make sure that you guys know about that. And like I said, and I hate to keep preaching up one of my friends' videos, but Ken Dono's video about we need Attell to succeed.
Yeah, we really do.
Right on. I mean, just I like I said, and I told you earlier, and I keep harping on it. If I could give it like 5 likes, I'd give it 5 likes. I mean, it was just so spot on. It was just so good. So what are your plans for the summer? I know you said you're going to be traveling this summer.
Yeah, so the beginning of summer is always a little bit more calm, but at the end of the summer, I try to get a lot of stuff in, and especially with work now, I didn't have like a set work schedule. I pretty much just did YouTube last summer, but more of like a set work schedule. I got to find some time to take off. So I know that in July, probably not the weekend right after the 4th of July, but the weekend in the middle, the 13th and the 14th, I'll be coming down to Florida to see Jack and my friend Jack and Ken. So if we can link up down there, that would be awesome.
Well, you know what? You can help me celebrate the 3rd anniversary of my 20th birthday.
Yeah, man.
Because it's right smack dab in the middle of July. Yeah, July 16th. So yeah, awesome. Absolutely. And I can tell you this. I can take you to the best burger joint here in Tampa, bar none.
Perfect. Awesome. So you're around Tampa, correct?
Yeah, I'm around Tampa. Okay. Do you like craft beer?
I'm not 21 yet.
No, you're not 21. That's right. I'm
20. I'm 21 in August, or 21 on August 6th. So almost.
But they have incredible craft beer. But they also have, and it's actually Ford's Garage. It's a themed restaurant based on. They actually have 2 Model Ts sitting up on stilts one in the bar there. All kind of Ford memorabilia in there, T-shirts, everything. They have a couple of them sitting outside. They have an old style gas pump out there with a ding ding and all that. So yeah, definitely let me know when you're going to be down here, so we can definitely go out. You can meet the missus. Definitely break some bread. And I've been meaning to see Ken, and it's just like he's like, out of town. You know, his job gets him out of town all the time, and it's just like crazy trying to hook up with him. It's just insane.
Yeah, and I told you another one of my friends, Jack, is down there, and he loves flying drones. He's got the Phantom 4 Pro. He's all about it. He doesn't do YouTube. He does more commercial stuff. But when I went out to Minneapolis, I met with him out there, and he's just an awesome guy. Love talking to him.
And I got to throw a plug in. I tell you what, you know, I know you drove to Minneapolis for your beloved Eagles, and I gotta tell you this. I rooted for them like nobody's business.
Oh, I'm sure the entire United States, except for New England, was rooting for the.
You got that, Billy. I'm telling you, man. I was doing freaking cartwheels. I was happy for you, but I'll tell you what, you know, if the earth would swallow up like Gillette Stadium, you know, it wouldn't matter to me.
Wouldn't faze me.
Sorry to digress about that, but no, I'm thrilled. I'm absolutely thrilled about that. So
I'm down to talk about the Eagles winning the Super Bowl any day of the week.
Yeah, I'll tell you what, just that story, just the whole story about that is just. And I got to tell you this, and I know we're not talking drones here for a second, and somebody will probably shoot me for this, but you know what? I watched, and it was Tony Dungy, and I heard him on, you know, and after the Eagles starting quarterback got down and got hurt, and he said, you know what? And I'm sorry, what's your quarterback? What was the guy's name in the Super Bowl?
Carson Wentz.
Carson Wentz.
So Nick Foles was the backup QB that played throughout the playoffs, but Carson Wentz was the one. Right. It's his second year. He played the entire year and then went down with a torn ACL.
Right, he got the torn ACL, and he said, Foles, he says, you know what? And I'll never forget this. It was on Thursday. I don't know if it's like Monday Night Football or whatever, but Tony Dungy came out and he said this, and I wish I had recorded it. He said, you know what? Nick Foles can win the Super Bowl for them. And I heard that, and I said, you know what? Tony Dungy's somebody who I just absolutely admire, by the way.
Yeah, man.
Tremendously. But he said, you know what? He said he can win the Super Bowl, and I'm like, you know what? I think you can take that to the bank, and sure enough, he did. I mean, just wow.
Nick Foles was a great quarterback when he played in his heyday in Philly, so I had no doubt in my mind he was going to be able to do something special.
Yeah, that was just absolutely fantastic. Don't get me started about hockey right now, though. I don't.
Hey, look. Anytime that I don't have to watch the Penguins is a good time. So we won't talk.
But I went to the first game at Consol, the new arena.
Yes.
And they played the Flyers, and of course they lost. And and if you know anything about the history, the very first game the Penguins ever played, they played to the Flyers and they lost. So it's like, but you know what? There was just something special about being there for an opening game.
It's such a good rivalry. You know, I went to the last Stadium Series game when they played at Heinz Field, and it was cold. But they've got one coming up now in the 2019 season here in Philadelphia. I don't know whether it's in Lincoln Financial Field. I think it's Lincoln Financial Field because last time they did one here, it was in Citizens Bank Park. So now it's in the football stadium. So I'm excited for that.
We'll see. I went to the one in 2011 when they played the Capitals. And I had what would have been fantastic football seats, but we were down too far, and we can only when the action was down our end of the ice. That's the only time we could see anything. Otherwise, we had to look at the scoreboard. So it's like the rule of thumb is higher is better when you go to one of those.
Yeah, so we sat in the very upper level, and those stadiums obviously aren't built for hockey games, but it's fun to watch.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, you have to let me know when you're going to hit the sunny shores of Florida, because we will definitely get together. I don't want to pass up that opportunity, especially getting it's like 4 guys and 4 drones. What could possibly go wrong?
Crash.
Yeah,
Crash.
That's about it. Billy, I have to thank you so much. I've been absolutely
thank you for having me on.
Pins and needles. You're somebody who not only who I respect, but I really look up to, and I really like your style.
Thank you.
One of the other things is, what I see a lot of humility in you, and I think that's great. You're not the kind of guy who's going to go breaking, your arm behind your back to pat yourself on the back. And I tell you what, I have no idea. But I assume you just from the way you are, you had to have had a good upbringing.
Good parents. Love my parents.
And I had good parents too, and that instills, and that's that's something that can be said, you know. And
Exactly.
I can tell you what, that's one of the things I found out, you know, as I'm winding down my work career, you know, one of the things I can tell you, you know, and you're getting ready to probably start here in a couple of years.
Yes.
One of the things that will serve you well, and I can tell you already have that, is that humility. And, you know, and to carry that forward with you. I can tell you that's going to be one of the best things, the pieces of advice that I can give you for the rest of your life is just continue to be yourself, because you show that humility. You showed it tonight. And
Thank
just
you.
your ability and your wanting to help people. You know, your parents did raise you right. I can tell. I mean, you know, and that's one of the things I really like about you. Guys, I do want to let you know, if you have not subscribed, if you've been under a bushel for the last, you know, I don't know how many years, and haven't subscribed to Billy Kyle, please do so.
Would
You
love to
guys,
have you.
guys are you know, he's one of my go-to guys that I go to. Is somebody that I respect, I look up to, and who puts out quality products, and, you know, he has great humility, and those are the kind of people I always gravitate to all the time.
Thank you,
Billy,
Bill.
I can't thank you enough.
Thank you for
You
having me
know,
on the show.
absolutely, you've been absolutely fantastic. You know, I know we've gone over, and I know you probably got things to do, but you know, again, I can't thank you enough for tonight.
Of course, of course.
I appreciate that. Thank you so much for coming on tonight. You know, maybe we'll revisit this maybe 6 months or a year. We'll go down the road when we get some of these new drones coming out.
Yeah,
We'll
man.
definitely be talking about that. I also wanted to let you know too, before I completely wrap it up, is if you get a chance to, my very first episode I did was with Sally French, the drone girl, and she's a fantastic person, and I was thrilled to have her on my very first show. And when some more drones come out, gonna try to get her back on. And one of the things that I've tried to do as well, and I've gotten, and I'm starting to get more, you know, more females on my channel and subscribing as well, because I think that's a segment that I think it's an untapped one. And Sally does a fantastic job. She's a great ambassador. If you ever get a chance, look at her blog, Billy. She puts out she's one of my go-to blogs every day.
I've seen a couple of the posts that she's made. I've seen that actually DJI retweets her. I'm not one for reading much. I'm definitely more of a video guy. But when I go for looking at, you know, these drone blogs, she's someone that I will read, because it's all about drones. It's not like you're going and reading an article from The Verge or CNET where they just kind of cover everything. Yeah. It's more of a, you know, a niche on drones, which I respect.
And she does, and she's prolific on Twitter, and that's where I read her a lot. So again, thank you so much for being on tonight. Really appreciate that. Best of luck to you with school and with your travels, and I'm looking forward to meeting up with you and catching some, some food and having a great time.
Definitely.
Thank you, guys. Thank you so much, guys. Thank you all for showing up tonight. Really appreciate it. You know, Billy is just absolutely fantastic. We just enjoyed having him on. Want to let you guys know too, in 2 weeks I have coming on the show Hey Kestelou from Drone DJ. He's going to be fantastic. Going to have Sunday afternoon Rotor Talk Live. That's coming up. And be sure to check out my group page, where I'm going to post those screenshots that I took earlier of the about the Attell Evo. Ron, everybody, thank you for joining tonight, and thank you for ones that will be watching this. You know, watching the recording post-wise. Can't say enough about Billy. Billy's just absolutely fantastic. Loved having him on.
Thank you, Bill.
You're very welcome, Billy. Guys, enjoy the rest of your evening, and happy flying to everybody.
I'll see you.